a nut job, now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before, now look who's at your door. They called you a nut job, now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before, now look who's at your door. They called you a nut job, now a robot has their job. Israel resists U.S. pressure to pause the conflict to allow more aid to the Strip, wants hostages back first. Now, what I thought was interesting is there was actually a few ladies that stepped out and made headlines by kind of yelling at the president saying, you need to cease and desist and stop this thing right now. The day later, they officially say, we're hoping for a pause in the conflict, right? It's like, obviously, social media went wild and actually agreed. Most people don't want a conflict on either side because if people are perishing, and especially little wee ones, then it's not a good thing. A lot of folks have taken a side on this after reading a couple op-eds or, everybody thinks they're an expert on this kind of stuff. But as far as the whole situation, most can agree nobody really wants a war. Nobody wants people to perish. That's just something that, it's pretty easy to guess. It's common sense. Nobody wants this to be happening. I shouldn't say nobody because there are people cheering it on both sides, saying, this is a good thing. This is a great thing. They're literally backing both sides with a lot of heart. But in the end of the big picture of this thing, I'm hoping that this pauses and I hope that this stops. But I know it's not. And that is because I've been following this for years and we have been watching this get worse and worse. And the worst is yet to come. This is just the beginning of something that is far outreaching, way beyond Israel and the Strip, way beyond UKR and Russia, way beyond China and Taiwan. This is a world change, and it is happening, and it's happening fast. And a lot of military folks here, obviously, they have heard the rumors, they have heard the chatter. War is here, and unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be put back in the box. It says that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday pushed back against growing U.S. pressure for, quote, a humanitarian pause in the nearly month-old conflict to protect civilians and allow more aid into the Strip, insisting that there would be no temporary ceasefire until the roughly 240 hostages held are released. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken made his third trip to Israel since the conflict began, which is pretty crazy. In the last month, 3 trips, reiterating American support for Israel's campaign to crush Hamas after its brutal October 7 attack in southern Israel. Now, one thing I will point out, trying to be as completely neutral and unbiased as possible. Now, I have my own bias, but what I'm about to say, I'm trying to say from an unbiased and completely neutral place. As far as how they write things in these articles and how they have wrote these across the board nationwide, no matter where you see it, you will see these descriptors in these articles every single time. And I know because I read a lot of them. I read 20, 30 of them a day, and they all say the same thing. After the brutal, they'll always put a word that describes it, and obviously that's writing, right? But when they're talking about it, I've pointed it out when they talk about Putin, they say desperate despo, thief leader, or they'll say Armageddon wrenched, pathetic loser Vladimir. They'll put that in there before. So just say you didn't know anything. You've been living under a rock for 10 years. You read this. You'd go, oh, this guy's horrible. Or that event was horrible. There's a lot of folks on both sides saying everything that's happening right now is brutal. If you consider the civilians that were born there, if somebody was just born there, literally had no choice where they were born, and their home, or maybe their father or their mother or something said, no, we're going to stay here, we're not moving again, and then something falls on top of them and takes the life of a wee one, obviously that is not a good thing. That kid, the kid had no choice. Possibly the wife had no choice, or the husband had no choice, whoever had no choice. So, and then on the other end, this event that happened and went into, it's like everybody is questioning, how the heck did all of this happen? How did, when all of this is monitored, how did it even happen in the first place? Most people are zooming out and saying, okay, what is actually happening here? Where is this going to head in the next year? And is it going to get put back in the bag? There's been talk about this. Obviously, there's leaked videos of the prime minister talking about this 10 years ago in his living room, saying, this is what we would do if it was up to me. We would go in there and smash hard until they never forget. That's exactly what's happening right now. So I don't think that this is something, a cat that's going to be put back in the bag, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours, Foogle fam. And again, today is got a lot of crazy stuff going on. We're going to talk about briefly, and we're going to hit more on the other show over on Marfoogle TV about this massive bank event that just happened today. We just had a deposit issue, and I'm going to read the official narrative of what they said it was. But direct deposits with Chase, Bank of America, all these different banks nationwide had issues. Now, we have been telling you that there are cyber events around the corner. They're going to tell you that this isn't something, just like they told you that the nationwide grounding wasn't, just like they said that the pipeline wasn't, just like, and I'm talking about ours, just like they said in the very first 12 hours of the casino hack, it was a glitch with the system. And then they said, it was a ransomware. The hospitals, the 911 system, the satellites that do GPS, all of these events are happening. Microsoft, the email server hacks, all of these things that they first cover up are now coming to light. They always do. And obviously things are going on right now. And this is what preppers prep for. So before we get started, I do want to remind you, one of our recommendations as far as protection against any of this is going to be an EMP shield. This is a device that can protect anything that runs or drives. Again, this is something that can even protect your home. It can protect your solar generators, your gas generators, your ham radio, your cars, trucks, motorcycles, boats, pretty much anything. And it is the same company that is outfitting agencies like DHS, DOD, and now the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. It's very easy to put in your car. It takes 10 minutes, and that means your car is going to get to where you need to go to either go home to bug in or go out to bug out. It actually grounds a signal in less than 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. It's very easy. Red to red on your battery, black to black on your battery, and then green to ground. So a part of the frame in the car, and then it is protected. Then you just bolt it to a piece of metal inside somewhere where you can fit it, and then you are protected. It's a very, very awesome Keystone military-tested device. And again, nobody is going to do it for you. So it's not something you'll need until you do need it. And then if something happens, then you're definitely going to appreciate having it. It also protects you against the natural kind, a CME or a solar event, like a Carrington level event, which means that is something that will happen. And it's just a matter if we're caught up or not. It helps support independent news, and it gets you a giant discount at the same time. It's a win-win for everybody. Go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP and make sure to use the code MARF. Thank you guys for supporting us. More so, though, please share us out. Share this video. Again, we're going to be very, very conservative with your time today and try to flow through this. Dex, let's bring in my co-host/internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Quick reminder, very important people in the chat right now are the mods. They always keep it peaceful. They of course, enforce the general rules, which is don't trash other creators, don't trash each other. If you have something you believe, it is my opinion that, and this is why I disagree, instead of you're an idiot. That's pretty simple, right? So try to keep it peaceful. All of these mods are great people. Thank them by going over and subscribing to them. Thank you, everybody that has made it so far. So let's hit this direct deposit thing. So direct deposits delayed nationwide due to ACH banking system issue. Some people are not getting their paychecks Friday due to a banking system issue. Now, gosh, and I think it's even, Dex, it's not a holiday weekend, is it? Gosh, it's like,
no.
Okay. So I feel like it would, if something like this happens, you go to the ATM, you can't get your money on a Friday. That's what people have talked about forever. And you know what the scariest part about the kind of talk about, if this thing ever happened, it would be on a Friday. It would be when on a holiday weekend when everybody's calm and going to their families. Well, say like this month, Thanksgiving. Everybody has thought that a massive event like the ATMs are unavailable, the banks go down. This kind of event would happen on a holiday weekend on a Friday. And of course, that is also assuming too, a lot of people assume that would be some sort of plan, that would be some sort of part of this whole thing. As far as the hacks that can happen, just imagine you go to your bank and there's no money in it, or you go to the bank and they are just completely shut down. Well, here in this case, paychecks did not go in. So this screwed a lot of people. Whether they say they're going to fix it temporarily or if they fix some of them, some people just literally did not have access to their checks on the time that they thought they were going to have access. It's scary. Now, I'm sure employers and anybody in their personal situation, they'll say, well, it's direct deposit. It's usually a couple days before a check anyways. You're going to have to deal with it, whatever else. But this is scary because it deals with people's paychecks, and most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Even a day late can affect all sorts of things, especially when you have something so regular as a paycheck that is direct deposited on a certain day. Most people have their bills and everything else that come out. I mean, I know I've been there where something comes out on direct deposit day or something like that, goes negative, then you get fees for that. Then those fees can even completely screw you over. So this is a huge deal, but it is nothing close to what could happen. Dex, as far as the direct deposits delayed, this was Chase and Bank of America, and it's kind of scary. And you want to tell what the official narrative is, what they say this was?
Yeah, sure. So this is coming from the Fed, and mind you, the Fed runs one of the two ACH systems. So the Fed has reported that a batch of transfers had a processing issue. The agency further stated that the issue appears to be a processing matter with EPN, which is ACH's private sector operator. So it's a company that helps operate their ACH network. It said any deposits authorized on November 2nd at 6 p.m. appear to have the account and recipient information obscured, according to the Federal Reserve. So that obscurity is what's causing it not to be able to route. At least that's how I'm interpreting what they've said. So that's it. And back to the number of banks, I want to say, in addition to Bank of America and Chase, which you named, it was also U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, and of course other banks. But it's anybody that's using that portion of the ACH system that's run by the Fed. There's another portion of the ACH system. I can't remember the name of it, but it's run by a bank consortium.
Somebody said the official scarative. No, I have to disagree with you on that. So sometimes the narrative is actually something that calms people down or tells people it's okay. I see that too, where it's the opposite. Obviously, they use every disaster to their advantage, and they will tell you something is scarier than it is. They'll hype up something, and also they do the opposite. They also extremely downplay things. They cover up things. They push things under the rug. They don't report it. They omit it. All of these things happen on a daily basis in the United States and everywhere in the world. It's part of how government works. It's part of national security. They tell you it's, again, for our own safety and for our own convenience. This stuff happens on a daily basis. We get hacks, we get attacks, we get all sorts of things, and that's the facts. Oh, but you guys get what I'm saying. This, I think, is not a scarative. This is like something else that rhymes with narrative, but is closely resembling a word that rhymes and looks cool and tells you that they're minimizing it. That's what I think. They have their thing. Oh, it's just this common thing. U.S. Bank, Bank of America, Chase. Again, most people are already shifting towards the big banks because of the bank collapses of the Silicon Valley banks and all these other things that are happening. Then you get everybody down to 5 or 6 banks and then shut those banks off. See what kind of chaos happens then. Think about the chaos when no one can access their money. This is why preppers for way longer than before ATMs existed always said to keep money at home or keep money under your pillow or keep money in a safe cash or something that you can trade or something else. Rip Curl said something about digital currency. Like, this is something to get us all over on the digital currency or something. If you could repeat that, Rip, that would be great. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify because I was correct when I said there's 2 different networks, but when I reread what they said and went and looked up the other network's name, they're blaming the other network. So for those of you that don't know how the or the ACH system works, the Fed has an ACH system, and EPN, which is the Electronics Payment Network, has an ACH system. They interoperate, but the EPN was set up by that consortium of banks, which is why you're seeing Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo all being affected because they're part of that bigger conglomerate. Where the Fed say processes a whole lot of say social security checks, which they do a ton with ACH, and that's why it's on their network. So the Fed is blaming EPN, and not necessarily saying it's their fault. They're saying it's EPN's fault. EPN is the other network.
So do you believe that, Dex, or what do you think?
It's all a good excuse. I'm not trying to necessarily decipher that part of it. I just wanted to clarify when I said EPN earlier that I didn't realize was referring to, or they were referring to, the secondary network. And I thought it was odd that it was hitting these banks because I knew these banks don't use the Fed; they use their own network.
Yeah, Lord Andrew says nope. Lord Andrew, ditto. Big D. Did it affect Social Security? Patty S. That I don't
I
think.
bet no. And I'm not guaranteeing that, Adam, but I only say that because if they're saying it's EPN's problem, not Fed's problem, then yeah, Social Security would have gone through. Bank of America and Chase would not.
Gosh, think about if something was done on the back end because Social Security did go out on the first or something, and they were like, "Oh, there's no money there," or something, or some sort of hack moved the money temporarily, and they did this because they had to shuffle things around or something. As far as there could be some higher up banking experts here that could explain and go, "Oh no, this is completely normal. I've never seen this before. At least not in the 5 years I've been covering all of this stuff." It's either way, it's a very scary thing, and it does put in the back of our mind this could happen for real and shut down the banks. It's absolutely terrifying. Especially with what is going on. There have been specific threats. They said that we're not going to get out of this fire if we continue to help Israel. Iran made very specific things. They have actually put out information that they have been working on their cyber crimes as far as their cyber units and hitting America specifically. Not only that, we've got Russia. We have North Korea. North Korea made threats of cyber events on us. You had Russia make threats of cyber events, or at least secondary groups that are funded by Russia. You have China that is obviously just doing it. So, yeah, I would definitely have a plan if something goes down. Just have a basic plan and try to work on it. Erdogan wants to lead Muslim world against Israel as Turkey angry over the Strip attacks. Now, it says that Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan wants to, quote, lead the Muslim world against Israel so his country can become, quote, a great power, an analyst has told Daily Express US. It says that Hamas terror attack in Israel on October 7th, the IDF has responded with an unrelenting bombing of the Strip. And it says, and while most Western powers have backed its right to defend itself, anger is growing among other countries in the Middle East. Lebanon-based terror group Hezbollah leader has vowed to fight to the death for Hamas in a chest-thumping warning to Israel. In response, Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu has sent a cold-blooded response to Hezbollah war threat. It says Simon Waldman, a lecturer in the Middle Eastern Studies, King's College London, notes that Erdogan's rhetoric is long praised Israel as, quote, an aggressor, and he believes Turkish leader wants to, quote, lead the Muslim world against Israel. I mean, this goes deep. It says Erdogan joined the chorus of condemnation directed at Israel this week, saying that the country is completely out of its mind. Now, regardless of what's going on here, this is Turkey has been headlines since the beginning of the Russia UKR ordeal, and now they're making headlines here. They're most definitely not super friendly with the U.S., that's for sure. And if you're European and our ally, probably not so friendly with you guys as well. And then Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei trolls Israel in unprecedented Hebrew tweet. Dex, do you want to cover this? And this is I wouldn't say the Z one because they watch.
Yeah.
They're look out for that one. But
Yeah, and just a quick note though on Erdogan, he has the second largest standing military force in NATO. So when you think about that, obviously the U.S. being the largest, he's got such a big military. It's bigger than all of the other NATO members, not combined, but individually. So when he is taking that position, that's kind of when Erdogan's making those sayings, it's kind of it's making a lot of people nervous. Let's put it that way. So the Ayatollah making this, as they call an unprecedented statement, he literally went on to tweet or on X, and he tweeted in Hebrew. Now he did say the type of tyrants you will never arise from your defeat on the Sabbath, the 7th of October. You brought this calamity upon yourselves. And he said that in Hebrew. So this was sort of a big slap or a big, moment, I guess, from him as to sort of put it in their face, not just saying it to them, but also putting it in their language in Hebrew. So, um, they're not doing anything to calm things down. They're doing everything they can to continue to heat things up. And I think the other statements that we've talked about that he's made is that they want their the T groups that are out there that they fund to sort of keep it at a boil, but not let it boil over just yet. They're deciding when they want to take it to the next level, but they're trying to keep it as hot as possible.
And we'll call this word, because this is the kind of thing, this first word, we'll call it Zeo, okay? So if we say Zeo, that's what we mean. They've been using it all over the place in social media, everywhere else. But they're trying to AJ people. You say something like this, that is like one of the biggest things that the algorithm grab, and then they try to pin people, or they can then play you saying this, and then try to go against you. By the way, there have been people that have been on Rumble for years now, and their only crime is saying that word. Like, that's crazy. But they're saying, tyrants, you will never rise from your defeat on the Sabbath, the 7th of October. You brought this calamity upon yourselves. So, yeah. Same, was it? It was the same Ayatollah that it was the same gentleman, right? That put out a video on his personal Twitter, which they let up. They at the same time as they booted a bunch of people off, they let him post a video of this elaborately done, almost like first Toy Story quality 3D animation video of this hypothetical scenario where they sent a land roving drone into Mar-a-Lago, went up to the golf course. You see a gentleman who is wearing a red hat playing golf, and it's obviously the back of T-Man, our former prez. And it does like a laser sight on him, and then a sky drone basically gets the laser target and goes, and then at the end of the video, it shows a guy in charge, like in the command center, driving the thing with like a necklace of Soleimani on it, like a rest in peace Soleimani necklace, hanging off of the trigger, the lever to hit the bomb or something. So this guy is not, it's not beyond them to say strong words. This isn't even the strongest he's done. I mean, they straight up put a video showing our former prez getting taken out by them. So pretty crazy dudes. And then USS Gerald R. Ford and the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower operate together in the Eastern Mediterranean. So we have a lot of troops over there right now. And one thing to realize is all these people knew. And all these troops knew. They were told. All these military members know what's going on. And I think that it's going to trickle down. I'm not scared to say we're in World War III right now, because I've talked to enough active duty military, not even retired, that might have a friend still in, active military folks right now, that they've been told they're going to war. They're being prepped. Their sergeants and the people above them, they're not tiptoeing around this. They're saying you need to tell your family to have plans. They're telling them, like, hey, get ready. This is the real thing. And I know this is all going to play out like we've been thinking it was going to play out this whole time. I don't feel like I'm going to have egg on my face in a year when all of this goes away. Because even if this closes down, we'll then have China and Taiwan, we'll have North Korea and South Korea. It may happen like it did with UK and Russia, where after everybody's tired of this thing, they might start another one. Either way, there is massive money funneling through the military industrial complex. And you have to realize the folks at the very top, they look at us like collateral damage to gain their goals in their own agendas. Says the first time in decades, 2 U.S. aircraft carriers sailed together in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea, U.S. Sixth Fleet announced on Friday. USS Gerald Ford and Dwight D. Eisenhower drilled for 3 days in the Mediterranean Sea, along with the USS Mount Whitney and 2 Italian-guided missile frigates. So people are forgetting, not only we have 2 carrier strike groups there, we have amphibious ready groups. Other countries, Europe has all sorts of other countries have their ships in this as well. And as they said, 2 Italian-guided missile frigates are there as well. Not to mention 7 ships of Israel's are in the water. You've got a ton of Navy in not only the Red Sea, but in the Mediterranean. And that's on top of the Navy we already have stationed in the South China Sea. So things are definitely primed to pop off. Thank you, by the way, Link7369. What's going on? We've got Mammy Raymer. Thank you. Amonra. We have Rui Durar Andrade Adao. Says, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Virus Untreated. Marfoogle is not a free speech advocate. That is absolutely untrue 100%. Please explain how I'm not a free speech advocate. So, by the way, I just want a quick reminder, free speech in my chat is that's not a thing. So if you were to walk in my home right now and start screaming at people or start screaming whatever, I have the complete right to say, hey, you can you can put your shoes up on your table. You can sit and scream. You can yell at me even, but you're going to have to do it from the sidewalk. This isn't a public place, and every YouTube channel that you go to is owned. It is the respective property of the IP. So again, it's not like you're just walking into somewhere that's like a public space. Every person has control over that. So you're walking into somebody's house, you follow house rules. It's not about free speech, like, oh, they won't let me say this. You can say whatever you want. In fact, you can start your own channel. You can say the craziest things ever and get booted off in 2 days. That's up to you. I'm a complete free speech advocate. I even have said things that have gotten me in heat for supporting things that are not popular because there can't be a line in between. But as far as like saying stuff or trash talking in here or doing stuff in this chat, no, it's my house. I prefer to, I'm also responsible for it as well. So I would like to keep everything rolling and keep going because there's a lot of people that love not even the channel, but love the community here. And if the community disappeared tomorrow because of some stupid stuff that people were saying, that would be really lame. So again, kind of stupid. But again, people think of a YouTube channel and going into chat as like a public corner. YouTube itself is a public corner because you can have your own channel and you can project to everybody what you think. And you can take your own risks and you can stand on the corner. Hey, you might get hosed by a truck or something, or you might get taken out by police for causing a scene, but you can do that. But if you go into somebody's house and do that, it's going to be a different story. It's not going to work. So I think that's where people have like a differing view of it. Like, oh, I wanted to say this and they didn't allow it. If you say something nasty in the chat, you get muted. It's that simple. And they're pretty lenient. I understand that sometimes the hammer's too hard, and I always tell you, email me, guys, if something you feel was not done right, or sometimes there's accidents when there's 3,000 people in chat. Sometimes the mods accidentally mod the wrong thing, or it goes by so fast because it's so fast that they accidentally mute the wrong person or they ban the wrong person. But again, just want to explain that because I haven't talked about that in a while. And then the White House, 100 U.S. citizens and family members left Gaza on Thursday. It says the White House said on Friday that 100 U.S. citizens and family members left Gaza on Thursday and said another large group of Americans were expected to leave on Friday. Speaking to reporters as President JB flew to Maine, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said negotiations are intense on getting foreign nationals out of the Strip and that it is a fluid situation. So, still 100 U.S. citizens, according to them, are out there right now. And then we have the U.S. making intense effort to get hostages out of the Strip. No guarantee of success official. Dex, do you want to go over this?
Well, yeah, just another stat to let us know, like we said, there's 100 that are not being held captive, but are being held behind the lines, which you just reported on. And now they're saying that the ones that are being held captive, they're trying to make intense efforts to get them out. We'll talk a little bit more specifically about some of the actions and tactics that they're doing on our other show over on Marfoogle TV. But the U.S. officials wanted, they put out the release, they put out the information. They wanted everybody to know that they're still making intense efforts on getting our hostages out. And I think all of this goes hand in hand with this whole notion of they wanted to get a pause done. But apparently that's not happening. And I think it's probably not happening because it sounds like to me, from what I'm reading between the lines, Netanyahu's not hearing that there's actually any give on the enemy side to release anybody. So if there was an opportunity to release everybody, then he would pause. But it doesn't sound like that's happening.
Yes. Again, everything that's going down right now, let's see here. U.S. making intense effort to get hostages out. Hold on. Let's see here. I got something here. Somebody said some other creator is 100% free speech. That is very awesome. I would say that is the same name that is actually, isn't that banned from all of the platforms and has a separate one on their own? So I guess you can. And we are on other platforms. We pretty much don't do anything over on the other ones, but on some we do. So yeah, here's the other thing. A lot of people say, well, this big creator does it or whatever else. First of all, I feel suspicious if people are just saying whatever. They grow extremely quick and they're able to say, like, go everything against the narrative and not have any problems. Like, we've had problems since day one for 5 years. We've had Discords hit for stupid stuff. As far as if somebody gets 1 million subscribers, 2 million subscribers, like, super quick, and they're not getting any kind of punishment, they can say whatever the heck. I would say that's kind of sus, especially since we know every little thing gets marked. But as far as the bigger creator, they say that. Well, they have a multi-channel network, which also takes away from their independence. That multi-channel network may be able to actually negotiate and get them back on if something happens. We don't. We're on our own. We don't have a team of lawyers, and we can't go. I have a family. I can't go 6 months and then get back on the platform. I have friends that got knocked off for 6 months, had a multi-channel network and a team of lawyers to get back on, and they were lucky they did. And when they did, it was never the same anyways. So it's like, why? When everybody understands what we're saying. Here's an analogy that really made a lot of sense to me. And this is how, and again, it's something I had to tell myself in the beginning when I was watching all the creators when I first started this. Everybody was just disappearing. In a war, do you wear a bright yellow vest and run out in the front lines, or do you wear camouflage? In the Bible, did they talk in parables? Yes, they did. As far as running out in a yellow vest, that's great and all. You can do that for about 10 minutes, but then you're gone and you are a casualty. That's the thing. So as far as what is happening right now, a conflict, a war, same thing. Only now we're in an information conflict, and it's getting bad, and it's only going to get worse. So, it's a crazy time the last 5 years, and it's been super stressful. So I appreciate all the Foogle fam that does get it, and I appreciate all the Foogle fam that communicates it to future and new people. It's very good. Also, a lot of just to clarify, some people that are in slow mode, it's going to gray out. If you don't wait 45 seconds, that's not you being censored. That's it graying out because it's in slow mode. It will only let you comment every 45 seconds because there's 3,000 to 5,000 people in chat. And if we don't put slow mode, by the time you type something, it's gone. It's so fast that mods can't even see the chat. It's insane. So yes, And that's when people get banned, because by the time they click on something, they're clicking on 2 pages up on somebody else's name. That was one of the main reasons we slowed it down, is because there was just too many mistakes happening. All right, and make sure to go over to Marfoogle TV. We got a lot more. We're going to talk more in depth about the deposits and the crazy event that just happened with banks today. So make sure to join us. If you want to just stay right here and chat, we'll port you over to Marfoogle TV. If you want to find this channel, if you can already see, if you type in the exact name of it, for some reason it shows up 2 pages down. Type in @MFN. It's very easy. The @ MFN into YouTube, and you will immediately find this channel. That is our actual tag or hash. What do they call it, Dex? Either way, it's our thing. The username, our handle, right?
Yeah, channel channel tag name.
Yes, and @MFN will get you directly here. On the other one, it's @Marfoogle TV. So very easy to remember, @MFN, @Marfoogle TV. You can find both the channels, and that way it's not going to show you 50 other things it's not supposed to. That's the point of a handle. So it's a very easy one to remember, @MFNN. Mother Foogler News. Okay. All right, see you guys, and thank you, Ilea. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you, Rip Curl, for popping in. Thank you again. I didn't get to see the updated comment. We will see you over on Marfoogle TV in just a few minutes, so stick here, or you can port over and go over to marfooglenews.com. A full bibliography is available of today's show. You can always go to today's thumbnail, distract and destroy, and then you will find every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we have shown you here today, plus a whole lot more. Not to mention, if you want to support us, you can go over to any of the affiliates on the right. They're all products we believe in. And again, it helps our independent channel. We are completely on our own. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Love you. Be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out.
You a nut job. Now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before. Now look who's at your door. They called you a nut job. Now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before. Now look who's at your door. They called you a nut job. Now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before. Now look who's at your door. They called you a nut job. Now a robot has their job. They called you crazy before. Now look who's at your door. Bum